Hello and welcome to Book Bites YA edition, where we give you a sampling of the first page of new YA books. And if it sounds good to you, you can go on our catalog and put a hold on it. All right, the first book that we're going to give you a bite of is Dear Justice by Nick Stone. Let's do this. It didn't take much for Quan to decide he was leaving this time. He feels a little bit bad, yeah. Knowing Deja and Gabe are still in the house makes his stomach hurt the way it always does when he finds himself faced with grown people problems he can't fix. But Quan's only 9. Running away alone is hard enough. Trying to bring a 4-year-old sister and a 2-year-old brother just isn't gonna work. He's glad spring has sprung early. Didn't have time to grab a jacket as he fled. He's pretty sure there was too much commotion for anybody to notice, but he takes a few unnecessary turns en route to his destination. In case Olaf, that's what Quan calls his mama's duck boyfriend, which is what Quan's dad calls the guy, did notice Quan's exit. All right, so that is the first paragraph or so of Dear Justice by Nick Stone, one of our brand new November YA books. All right, next up is Allies by Alan Gratz. Hunting we will go. D. Carpenter's foot slipped off the wet ladder and his stomach lurched into his throat. He scrabbled for a handhold, but the weight of his pack and his rifle dragged him down. At the same instant, a gap opened up between the huge transport ship he was leaving and the little motorboat he was supposed to be climbing into. Dee dropped like a stone toward the cold black water of the English Channel. A hand shot out and caught the pack on Dee's back. Dee jolted, then swung into the side of the ship with a thump. "Grab on," his friend Sid Jacobstein yelled. With shaking, frozen hands, Dee fumbled until he was clinging to the side of the ladder. That is Allies by Alan Gratz, a nice historical novel. Next up is Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angelis. A cool, lush fantasy book. Ooh, the first page is really pretty. I mean, the design is pretty. All right, let's do this. Has a cool map. I love books with maps. Never come to Hellfire House without wearing a mask. It was one of the rare rules in a joint without any. The only rule the master of the club did not mind following. He blended in with the sea of suits and white masks that arrived every other night, switching appearances from crowd to crowd. A bartender one moment, a dealer at the card tables the next. Only his face remained the same, half-masked and haunting, like a prince who relished the bloody crown on his head and the ghosts that came with it. A face almost hardened by beauty, though glints of youth ran deep beneath soft black eyes. It always shocked new guests to see him. The master of the house was rumored to be a dragon of a man, a monster, a magician who had no mercy for fools. Dun, 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 dun. All right, second to last is a contemporary read called The Code for Love and Heartbreak. Sorry, this green screen is struggling. There we go. By Jillian Cantor. I've always loved numbers a whole lot more than I love people. For one thing, I can make numbers behave any way I want them to. No arguments, no questions. I write a line of code and my computer performs a specific and very regulated task. Numbers don't play games or hide behind some nuance I've missed. I write an equation, then formulate a definitive and absolutely correct answer. And maybe most importantly, numbers never leave me. All right, that is The Code for Love and Heartbreak. Finally, we have a fantasy one called The Puppet Master's Apprentice by Lisa Duselm. I've never had a mother, but I've always had the trees. I hear them still. The joy of the beech bursting with buds, the oak's relief at shutting fall's heavy fortune, the anticipation of winter's slumber with rugged skins bared to the frost. Their voices rise and fall on every twist of the wind, comforting yet stern when danger draws near. Once a widower walked among them, hunting for fresh wood. The puppet master liked to take his time, feeling the bark for smoothness, measuring width for usefulness, assessing the health of each trunk. He only culled trees who had lived a good life already. He left behind those too young or too warped by the strange forces of nature. At night, as he was taking his rest in a small clearing, a woman appeared at the rim of his firelight. She was old, old beyond old, with skin more leather than flesh. All right, so those are a sampling of some of our new YA books. If you like them, you can find the links to them in the YouTube description and place a hold on them. Thank you and have a nice day.